You are angry because you are not yet compassionate. In life, everyone experiences negative emotions such as anger and resentment when hurt or treated unfairly. However, according to Buddhist philosophy, anger is not just a natural psychological state, but also a form of suffering. When angry, the mind burns like fire, losing its peace, leading us to speak words that hurt others or act impulsively. The Buddha once taught, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned first. In this way, anger does not harm others as much as we imagine. Instead, we are the first to suffer its consequences. The root cause of anger does not lie in external circumstances, but originates from within. When the mind clings to the self and desires everything to go its way, we easily fall into dissatisfaction and resentment when things do not go as expected. This happens because ignorance clouds our vision, preventing us from seeing that all things are impermanent and that nothing is absolute to hold on to. If we understand that everything in life, including people's words and actions, arises due to temporary conditions, we will reduce our anger and suffering. The more we cling to our ego, the more easily we get hurt. But if we learn to let go, we will find peace in an ever-changing world. The only way to dissolve anger is to cultivate compassion and tolerance. When we are truly compassionate, we no longer blame or hold grudges, but instead develop understanding and empathy. The Buddha himself was insulted, yet he did not get angry or react negatively. He simply smiled and said, "If someone brings a gift to another, but the recipient does not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "To the giver." The Buddha then said, "Likewise, if I do not accept your insults, they remain yours." This is the wisdom of compassion. When we do not accept insults, they cannot harm us. To cultivate a compassionate heart, the Buddha taught that one should follow the noble eightfold path, especially right view, seeing things correctly, right mindfulness, being fully aware in the present, and right concentration, keeping the mind stable and undisturbed by external events. Practicing meditation, contemplating impermanence, and nurturing kindness will gradually transform anger and lead to inner peace. When we have enough compassion, we will no longer be disturbed by the words or actions of others. Therefore, when you find yourself angry, do not rush to blame others. Turn inward and observe your mind. Anger is merely a sign that you have not yet developed enough compassion. And compassion is not just about forgiving others. It is also a gift you give to yourself, a peaceful heart unshackled by suffering. Your worries, they arise because your heart is not yet spacious enough. Life is impermanent. All things revolve in cycles. Where there is union, there will be separation. Where there is joy, there will be sorrow. If your heart still carries worries, it is a sign that your mind is still clinging, still distinguishing right from wrong, gain from loss, still wishing for the world to bend to your will. But life is like a flowing river, sometimes calm and serene, sometimes surging with waves. If you keep holding on, it is no different than trying to grasp water in your hands. The tighter you hold, the drier your palms become. Worries arise from delusions, from unfulfilled desires, from dissatisfaction when life does not go as planned. People often believe that suffering comes from external circumstances, but in truth, its roots lie within the mind. As long as the heart clings to the self, as long as it distinguishes between friend and foe, as long as it yearns for fulfillment, worries will never cease. But if one opens the heart and sees all things as merely transient conditions, the mind will gradually find peace, and the burdens will lighten. The Buddha once taught, like the still waters of a deep lake, when undisturbed, they perfectly reflect the blue sky. A person with a spacious heart cannot be troubled by suffering. When the mind becomes vast like the sky, capable of embracing all the joys and sorrows of life, then no matter how strong the winds blow or how the clouds drift, one remains undisturbed and at peace. A wise person does not cling to what has passed, nor does he fear what is yet to come. Instead, he dwells fully in the present moment, knowing that everything in life, love and hatred, success and failure, prosperity and decline, is all but fleeting. When this is understood, the heart naturally opens, and worries no longer arise from gain or loss. So, when you feel troubled, do not rush to blame others or resent the world. Instead, turn inward and reflect, is it because my heart is not yet spacious enough? A heart filled with compassion brings peace not only to oneself, but also dissolves the suffering of the world. When the heart is free from attachments, when one can flow with the natural course of life, then even amidst the ever-changing tides of existence, one can remain at ease, like a lotus in the mud, unstained by its surroundings. Envy arises because you are not yet excellent enough. In life, everyone has moments of envy, seeing others succeed, witnessing their talents, or admiring the good fortune they possess. When we see someone who is more skilled, wealthier, or luckier than us, feelings of jealousy may arise, making us feel unjustly treated or even resentful toward life. However, as the Buddha taught, envy does not diminish the light of others. It only darkens our own hearts. The root of envy does not lie in others, but within ourselves. When our hearts are not yet broad enough, when our wisdom is not yet bright enough, when we are not yet excellent enough, we become uneasy with the success of others. Deep inside, we feel inadequate, insecure in comparison. A wise person does not envy, but instead uses others' success as motivation for self-improvement. The Buddha said, "If you see someone excelling beyond you, do not harbor jealousy. Instead, contemplate that their success is the result of the seeds they have sown. Strive to cultivate your own wisdom and virtue, and you too will attain what is good." When we are truly skilled, resilient, and compassionate, we no longer concern ourselves with who is superior. A genuinely excellent person understands that success is not a competition against others, but a journey of surpassing one's past self. A person with a generous heart rejoices in the success of others, knowing that everyone has their own path and that another's good fortune does not equate to our own loss. So, when feelings of envy arise, pause and ask yourself, is it because I am not yet excellent enough? Should I focus on bettering myself instead of comparing with others? When you are truly skilled, there is no need for jealousy. When you are truly strong, there is no need to prove yourself. When you shine brightly, your light will radiate on its own, without the need to dim anyone else's. Your suffering is because your will is not strong enough. Life is a series of ups and downs, moments of happiness and moments of suffering. When faced with loss and pain, people often feel broken, weak, or even defeated. However, suffering does not come from the external world. It arises from within, from a mind that is not yet strong enough to endure and overcome. The Buddha taught, suffering does not exist because life is unfair, but because people lack the wisdom to see things clearly. When we cling to the desire for a life free of hardships, we fear adversity when it comes. When we hold on to what is lost, we drown in sorrow. But if we understand that everything is impermanent, we will see that all things that happen are merely a natural part of cause and effect. A strong-willed person is not one who never experiences pain, but one who knows how to rise after falling. They do not allow adversity to break them, but use it as a stepping stone for growth. Instead of blaming fate, they learn to accept, adapt, and become stronger each day. If the mind is firm, no storm can shake it. If the heart is persistent, no hardship can bring it down. When we realize that suffering is merely a test meant to strengthen us, we will find the courage to move forward, without resentment, without hesitation. So when you feel overwhelmed by pain, do not rush to blame life. Instead, ask yourself, is my will strong enough? When we cultivate inner strength, suffering is no longer a burden, but a force that shapes us into better, wiser beings. In this ever-changing world, Those with resilience will always find their own path, without fear, without retreat, walking forward with unwavering determination.